Deja.
Hello.
Hi. You good?
I was about to sing the song and then I was like, wait,
No.
I probably shouldn't.
That song isn't appropriate. Wait a minute.
Hold up, wait a minute, let me put some boom in it.
Deja, what didn't we watch today specifically?
RWBY?
Well, no. That, yes, but also...
What, Castlevania?
Yeah,
Yes.
because that's the subject of the podcast this week. Except we didn't watch it, because that's a whole last series with 4 seasons. And I wasn't fucking rewatching that. I've rewatched it before. I know Castlevania.
I don't have time.
Do you know Castlevania, Deja?
Yes, I do.
You do? I was thinking of, I mean, this kind of works, because it's another animated series that is also semi-based on fairy tales. A lot of Castlevania monsters are based on different folklore and fairy tales.
And I also have wives in here.
You do. So, lots in common with RWBY, but also lots different from RWBY. If y'all need to know any of the connections, go watch the Brian David Gilbert video about Castlevania, because he's funny. And that's about my... You good?
Yeah.
Okay. They just grabbed their chest like,
I
oh my
usually have to
goodness.
burp.
Oh my
Do
goodness,
this.
stop. Anyway, but yeah, I got into another thing similar about this to RWBY. I got into Castlevania. I was like, Daisy, you should watch this. And you were like, fuck you. I don't like what you showed me.
Oh my god.
And then you watch Castlevania and you were like, I like this.
Oh
And I
my
was like,
God.
hell yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I mean, I guess I can... Let me start with, like, the basic of, like, Castlevania the series, Castlevania the game, and Castlevania the series. Which also, Daisy, did you know Konami, who made Castlevania, pretty shitty? They don't even make games anymore. They just make gambling machines based off of their old games.
I feel like you told me this before.
They probably have when we were watching Castlevania, the Netflix series. But anyway, so, I mean, the backstory is pretty much the same. There is a long family line called the Belmonts, and they hunt monsters and vampires. Yeah, that's about it. Backstory ends there. But, yeah. I mean, the series is basically about a bunch of people kill Dracula's wife we loved, because he's a good husband, a mediocre father. And he gets mad and he's like, I'm going to wipe out humanity. And then he dies in season 2. Spoilers, by the way. Then he dies in season 2, and then it's about other stuff. What do you like about Castlevania, Deja?
I like the characters
You
and
like
how
the-
it's written.
How it's written.
I thought it was written very well.
I feel like we should, because that's the thing, right? It is kind of broken up into 2 parts, which, to be fair, those 2 parts are kind of like representative of the game series overall, where the first 2 seasons are about trying to kill Dracula, and the second 2 seasons are just stopping people from bringing Dracula back from the dead, because for some reason people always want to bring Dracula back from the dead.
I mean,
They just talked about fucking Dracula a lot in the past, so... Is Deja a lesbian? Yes. Do they have a massive lady boner for just vampires in general?
vampires
Yeah,
in general, bruh.
exactly.
They would break me in half any day of the week.
Do you want to talk about
Ooh.
Carmilla?
Ooh, not yet.
Okay.
But I will talk about her.
I mean, so this is kind of like shooting the shit about Castlevania. Maybe that's what this will be called. Just shooting the shit. Shooting the shit. Castlevania. What's your favorite fairy tale? Shooting the shit. Castlevania.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Then I use them in the titles. What's the line called on the keyboard? It's not like an I or an L. It's literally just like a vertical line. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I don't know what it's called.
No one does. And if you do know, don't say in the comments. Fuck you. Anyway, but
I think that's a little harsh.
a little harsh.
Just a little bit.
I mean, the Netflix series is the Netflix series almost has nothing in common with the games. It has the premise and the characters. The most consistent thing between the 2 is Alucard, because he rocks socks. So why would they need to change him to begin with? But it's very loosely based off the events of Castlevania 3, which I think is called Belmont's Quest, or like Belmont's Curse or something like that.
How many games are there?
There's a lot. Half of them aren't good. They have the 3D ones, which are kind of backgrounds. Like, I mean, the Castlevania was, as a game series, as I understand it, like, there was definitely, like, a lot of consistency, and, like, it was, most of it was, almost all of them were 2D side-scrollers, where you would whip and stuff, and then eventually that evolved into Metroidvania, which is where, like, it's 2D, but you can go wherever, basically, and, like, you're exploring a world on the map. And the biggest one of that is Symphony of the Night, which also stars Alucard, which is one reason everyone loves him, because he was in, like, everyone's favorite game from the series. So yeah, but other than that, like, over the years, the art changed for it, the direction changed for it. There was towards the end, there was, like, 2 3D spin-off games called, I think, Lord of Shadows and Castlevania Art Book. Are you looking up Art Book?
Because I remember they did a thing where they, like, they mentioned it and, like, promoted it, and I was like, I'm gonna get it. And then I forgot about it.
Oops.
And I was like, and then you saying that reminded me, because a while ago I was like, oh, I need to check that. Completely forgot.
Also, good beeping noise.
Yeah.
Deja, hold this and talk about Castlevania.
Let's talk about Castlevania. I have 2 wives in here.
Yeah.
2 big, beautiful wives that I love, very near and dear to my heart, Lenore and Camilla. I would die for them. That part when Lenore is with, what's his name? Oh my god, what's his name? She's with, oh my god! What's his name?
Who?
Lenore and... Hector!
Yeah. Hector and Isaac, who are 2 of Dracula's... I mean, just friends, honestly. They don't even really work for him. They're just like, we're cool with Dracula, so we're gonna help him eradicate humanity. But they're from their own spin-off game, where there's kind of a similar plot of, like, Isaac still trying to wipe out... Isaac, who's a worse character in the games, is still trying to wipe out humanity, and Hector is like, I'm gonna stop him, even though we have similar powers. Blah, 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 blah. But yeah. So, I mean, it's good to see just more adult animation that isn't, like, Adult Swim Family Guy come out of America. Like, it's definitely very anime, it's inspired, but it's still very distinctly Western, which is nice, because, like, anime is pretty great, but when it's, like, the only option for more mature animation sources, and half of them aren't even good, then you're kind of like, tired of this. But Castlevania is great. My favorite character is Isaac, which is a character I knew nothing about in the games.
Oh, is that one?
What?
In August.
What? It comes out in August?
Yes.
So you haven't missed your window.
I haven't.
Congratulations.
I'll have money by then.
Yeah. Isaac's cool. He goes on, like, a whole thing. I don't know. It's hard to talk about Castlevania as a series, because each of the 4 seasons are kind of like their own little thing.
Yeah.
Like, they all have
so
their...
much to unpack.
Yeah. They all have their small through threads, but for the most part, they all have their kind of arcs. The first one is just Trevor getting out of being drunk all the time and saving a town and meeting up with Sypha and Alucard, which is about as Castlevania 3 as it gets, because, like, Castlevania 3 was an NES game. It rarely had story, but the major thing of it was, like, you get through a level, you get a new character, that character being Sypha or Alucard. And then there was an extra one, which I didn't even think they put in the series. He was like a thief. And then second season is them actually going to kill Dracula and doing it. And it's like, I guess the show's over. And then third is that one of your favorite characters, Carmilla, is all like, well, I worked for Dracula, but he's dead now. So time to go back to my place and try and take over the world with my sisters. No.
Carmilla makes my pussy wet.
Oh my goodness. I need you not to say that ever again. Ugh.
I'm hilarious.
You're hilarious. But yeah, I mean, she's like the main antagonist for us, but all the characters, Isaac, Alucard, Trevor, and Sypha, they all have their own arcs. because they're like, we beat Dracula, and then they're like, wait, life still kind of sucks. And then season 4,
we still have a problem.
yeah, we still have issues in our lives. We didn't really think ahead. And then season 4 is just kind of the wrap up of all of that, and it brings it all pretty together.
Yeah.
Hector, I think Isaac has like the biggest and the goodest storyline throughout the entire thing, because he just kind of becomes he's fully behind Dracula killing all of humanity, because he's experienced some hatred throughout his life, but like as Dracula dies and he has to go throughout the world to, you know, basically just keep living life and further his plans, he learns like, hey, maybe I can do something other than just kill literally everyone in my sight, which is neat. And then he kills Carmilla, because she kind of devolves into that. So
at that point, she deserved to die, even though
exactly.
She is my wife. She was fucking wilded at that point.
Carmilla is like a problem that solves itself. Trevor, Alucard, and Sypha never even meet Carmilla or Isaac. They just resolve each other as problems, and then it's no longer an issue. So, you know, that's pretty neat. But yeah, it's because this is the thing, right? It's not like Trevor, Sypha, and Alucard are bad. You know, I still like them and everything, but I would say it's just like that. They are the base of the series. They are the strong foundation upon which it's rest. Heroes kill Dracula. Good. Nice. Pretty cool. But everything else is just like the stuff they build on top of that, which is cool. Also, the series is graphic in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Lots of talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones who? Other R-rated television series when? I couldn't think of another one.
I didn't want you to say the first one.
Well, you know what? But yeah, I wouldn't say it's like, maybe it gets gratuitous sometimes, but for the most part, it just kind of serves to be like, oh yeah, shit's bad. Shit's wild, yo. Have you seen this? We probably should have put spoilers up at the top about this. Because like I said, we're just talking shit about it.
There's also a threesome.
I wouldn't count that. That's not really... You're just mentioning it?
I feel like it should be mentioned.
That's kind of part of Alucard's thing, right? Because I'm hoping maybe they make like a Symphony of the Night sequel, even though that's like the most popular Castlevania, so why would they need to? But that was kind of like Alucard's whole deal, right? He gets introduced at the end of season 1, and he spends season 2 with Trevor and Sypha. And he spends season 3 alone for the most part, except for those two people who come up and he tries to be friends with them. And then they try and fucking kill him. Fuck and kill him.
Could you imagine being fucked and then someone wants to kill you?
I mean, I saw it, so. And then season 4 is like the wrap up of like, yeah, Alucard kind of needs like a plan, because otherwise he'll spend his immortal life completely alone.
He needs a plan and a family.
Exactly. Because, I mean, he literally gets a village, which is good, because, you know, Trevor, Sypha, and Lady...
he'll always have people to look over.
Exactly. That's the point. That's his arc, Deja.
I know, but still, I didn't put it together.
Oh, my goodness. The writer in the room, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll get up.
No!
I'll get up and leave. I'm sorry, I was too busy crying in the end. Too busy crying? What's happening?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? Like,
I'm analyzing everybody's arcs.
I would say the weakest...
I'm crying.
It's crying. I would say the weakest arc is probably, like, Trevor and Sypha, because, just because I don't really think they have a super big through line. But Trevor kind of, like, what? We were trying to think of, like, their thing.
Yeah, some of their arcs. I feel like it's not a big...
I think it's just kind of like found family.
Yeah.
Like their thing, because Trevor being in Belmont, who were excommunicated for whatever reason, even though apparently they're the only, you know, good vampire hunters in the world, they're not really strong or around anymore. And Sypha, who was once a nomadic magic user, like, she had a family, but they were very unearthly and attached. Which, side note, Legend of Korra really disillusioned people about the air nomads, and I can kind of back that up. I would not want to be an air nomad. I could be an air bender, but I wouldn't want to be a nomad. They seem like they suck. But like at the end of season 4, Trevor kind of talks about, like, you know, him and the final villain. They're just old killers from the old world, and they should just, you know, die and leave it for the people who can actually, you know, make the world a better place and stuff. And I think that's pretty neat. I think that's a pretty cool, just kind of like, this is what I'm fighting for. That's from Mega Man. That's from Megan Man. From the bad voice acting of Mega Man. They
should have had you.
They should have had me voice Mega Man, all Mega Man. Just do all the voices.
Mm-hmm.
I voiced all the fucking voices in Castlevania and Mega Man. But, you know, I think that is a cool thing. Because, like, we touched upon it with, like, Alucard and stuff. But I guess with stuff like superheroes and everything, it can just kind of be like, okay, we're just going to fight evil forever. And then someday we'll die. But Castlevania kind of takes a look at it and it's like, hey, yeah, we killed Dracula, but what's the end goal here? Are we just going to, you know, save people forever? Make it just do this until we die, or is there a grander plan here? And season 4 kind of gives you that grander plan of, like, Alucard gets a village. They're like, we're going to educate people and try and make the world a better place beyond just killing monsters and stuff. We will do that too, because that's pretty fun, but it won't be all that, not all the time. So yeah, Castlevania's neat. It's very different from RWBY, much darker tones, but, you know, things I still like about it. Am I wrong?
I didn't say a word.
I know, but you looked at me and I was like, am I wrong? Is it not darker than RWBY?
I was just listening.
Sorry. Alright, what do you think about the series as a whole, Deja?
I mean, well, the one part I was thinking about, and we said it when after we watched it together, the last season, I liked how it ended, like, on a happy note, with how, like, gruesome the whole thing was as a whole, like, in the series. So it was just nice to have that balance at the end.
Yeah. I would say, like, if we're just trying to talk about our thoughts on Castlevania in very broad strokes, this isn't a video essay. It's literally just us taking a break from RWBY to talk about other stuff. Broad strokes. It's like, it has really good writing, fantastic animation. The pacing gets a little weak sometimes. I wouldn't even say for, like, the first 2 seasons, just around, like, season 3. Maybe start of season 4, just because it's carrying that momentum from the last season. But other than that, it's still pretty fun. Has some cool lessons and messages and stuff. I'm trying to think what else. I don't know. It's something, as someone who usually likes to consume media as a whole, like, if I want to get into something that's part of a series, I won't just get that. I want to get the whole series. I can guarantee. Yeah, you looked at me like,
because I never known that about you.
Yeah, I love collecting series. I cannot just have, like, Dark Souls 2. I need 1 and 3, because if I just look at it, I'm worried that one day I'll go senile, and then I'll just look at it and it's like, did I never get those, or did I not care about them? I forget. But like, Castlevania, the Netflix series, is not you don't need to know fucking anything about the game series. I would say, if you can just separate yourself from the game series as much as possible, do that and watch the Netflix show, because it's probably better. And hey, the Netflix show, you know, is good, and Castlevania the game series isn't happening anymore. They're not making any more of those games. So
I didn't even know it was a game until you told me.
Like today or before?
No, before. You told me before when I started watching.
Also,
you were like, it's a game, and I was like, it is?
Is it? But this is a good show. You can't make good stuff out of games. If you want to support someone, though, you should check out Iga. Iga, he was the producer, and a lot of people were like, he's the guy who, like, made Castlevania good, the game series. And he did a Kickstarter that I got, and I fucking loved it, called Bloodstained. And not great writing, but fun gameplay. So it's as bare bones as like NES Castlevania, of like here's plot, demons, we go kill them, as opposed to Netflix Castlevania where it's like look at these fucking depressed characters all the time. You looked at me.
That's just you.
Yeah, it's just me.
Yeah.
Just depressed characters. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, what would you say is the overarching thing for all of Castlevania?
Don't ask me a question like that and give me no time to think.
Oh my goodness, I'm giving you time to think now.
No.
No.
My brain is slow.
Your brain is
What
slow.
was the question again?
I was saying, what would you say is like the overarching thing tying all the seasons together? What kind of like themes and whatnot?
Oh, theme?
Yeah.
Overall theme? Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like in a sense, it kind of, I get, roughly you could say family.
Roughly, family.
Roughly.
I
That's,
mean,
like,
that
one
does
thing-
kind of work.
Yeah, it's one thing I think about often, just seeing, like,
Mhm.
especially, like, with the different pairings and what happens.
Yeah, that's fair. I'd say family, and also kind of like, it. I don't want to. It's like the opposite. I don't know what the word for this would be, but I would say like the opposite of like nihilism, where like everything seems pointless, but you should still kind of keep fighting despite that. Could you just sum that up as depression? It's just like, yeah, depression. Everything seems suck, but it's worth it in the end. Keep fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, when you take that, I feel like that's almost the best use of when like you see like the gross, like not even just gore, but just like gross people in Castlevania, is like, even if they save the world's still pretty shit in a lot of ways. It's not always super worth saving, but that's what they touch upon on season 4. It's like, yeah, but if we save it, we can make a better place. That's like kind of like Isaac's whole season 3 arc and season 4 I guess climax is like he learns just like I could just destroy the world, or I could just kill a bunch of people and then make it a better place for the rest of the people. And that's pretty neat. Maybe that's why I like Isaac so much. He takes some of the things I like most about Castlevania and then just makes it a whole story arc.
Also, I feel like this goes with family, but also like relationships
Yeah.
is a big part.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to because like I'm trying to think about not just like the main characters, but like also like even like background characters, about like how does that relate, and then that's why I kind of touched on like the, depression, nihilism kind of stuff, because just like they meet a lot of shitty people and everything. That's kind of the point of like season 3, is that like after killing Dracula, there's still plenty of shitty people in the world, and they'll have to deal with that, even though they killed the big bad, whatnot. But season 4 resolves that with being like, yeah, but you can always just go on and make the world better after killing the shitty people. So, fun times. But we're literally just kind of like summing up our thoughts on the series. If anything, as opposed to RWBY, where my goal is to like make it so that you can watch the podcast without having to watch RWBY, I'd say go watch Castlevania, unless you're not in a place where you want any gore, in which case don't. But yeah, what do you have to say about that, Deja?
Oh, I was gonna say watch it for my wives.
Oh my goodness,
My wives,
Deja
my
likes-
beautiful wives.
Deja likes Carmilla, where
And Lenore. Don't
Yeah.
forget about Lenore.
that is, I mean, like, yeah, Deja talked about this, but like the characters and everything, no one's very black and white in Castlevania, and if they are, they die pretty quick, because every character, even Dracula, it's just like Dracula is all about, oh, I'll kill humanity for my wife, but it's not even like that. He's basically just waiting for someone to come kill him. By the time, like, yeah, he puts up a fight, kind of, when Alucard, Trevor, and Sypha show up.
Kinda.
Kind of. But if we're being honest, that's more for show, if anything. People are like, I've seen comments when I watch the fight of just like, there's no way they would have won if Dracula actually didn't want to die. But I would argue he's still like, putting up a fight. He doesn't want to
Yeah.
just like totally be pathetic, but
Yeah.
at the same time, he doesn't
You
care
don't
about
want to
living.
make it too easy.
Exactly. He's like, because maybe that's his character is just like, if no one can kill him for him, if no one can do the job for him, then he'll just keep wiping out people until there's nothing left, and then he'll do it himself. So, we should watch Hellsing. Hellsing's great. It's also Dracula, vampires.
I feel like you told me
I have.
about that. Like to watch it.
That's one of the things in Hellsing though, is that the main vampire, he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna let anyone kill me, even though I'm a shitty person, because I'm not gonna let there be a worse monster than me in the world. And I think that's kind of what Dracula, very similarly, that's kind of what Dracula is in this series. Not in Castlevania the game series. That's when I'm talking about that series being all over the place. Dracula is one example. He goes back and forth from just being a two-dimensional villain Dracula to, deeply written, or at least trying to be deeply written. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, lots of stuff. And then you got the family tree, the Belmont family tree. Look at all these crazy people. Look at Dracula and Alucard, and that's their tree. And then that's it. Dracula doesn't have a mom or dad.
Ta-da.
Ta-da! So yeah, 5. I think that's a podcast, though. That's just a short intermission between your normal RWBY episodes to talk about what we like about a different animated series.
I would let Carmela do whatever the fuck she wants to me.
Of course you would.
Anytime, any day of the week.
You'd let
Okay.
Lenore do that too.
Yes, I would.
And
That
then-
whole part with Hector when she was like, "You're my pet now." Oh, big nuts.
Big nuts.
Big nuts the
In-
entire time.
In your salad. That whole quadrate of
Oh, they
vampire-
could double team me.
oh my goodness. There are 2. I want to call them sisters, but 2 of them are dating, so it's more like not sorority. What's the other thing? Is it sorority? It is.
Yeah, like
The other one's
sorority
fraternity.
sisters.
Yeah, and the other one's
fraternity.
fraternity.
Yeah.
Why is it gendered? Why does it matter? Just call it a
don't
clubhouse.
fucking
You're just a
know.
bunch. It's just a fucking clubhouse, and
bunch
you're
of shitheads.
and you're getting drunk. You're the background characters
Isn't
to
your sister in
Castlevania.
a sorority?
Yeah. Anyway, gotta leave that silence in. This has been like the most like we got high and did a podcast we've done so far, which is saying something. Cause
We should do that one time.
we should. I mean, do you have weed,
No,
babe? Do you have weed?
I could call
Please.
someone.
Fucking please, I'm begging you.
I could call someone.
I'm begging you.
For weed?
Yeah. My glaucoma and anxiety are so high, and I know weed is good for both of those things. But
I
anyway,
usually go to alcohol.
alcohol tastes shitty though, and so does weed probably. But
I mean, it depends on the alcohol.
you're right. I could just start making smoothies. Anyway, this has been a brief mid-season intermission of Castlevania.
Are we always gonna do like middle of the season for whatever?
I wouldn't say
yeah.
that, but maybe in between, definitely in between seasons, and maybe if there's another like clear cutoff of like this was a climax, now the second, you know what I mean? So maybe, but definitely in between seasons. I feel like the in between seasons one will be more top 10 RWBY stuff. So yeah.
Top 10 pussy.
Oh my goodness. Goodbye. Thanks for coming, and remember, anything's a gun if you're brave enough. Bye.